Over the age of 50, cheese can leave a permanent mark on the brain. The fastest way to improve memory is to avoid certain foods, specifically foods that contain an enzyme called diacetyl. Diacetyl is put in many of today's processed health foods to add flavor. These flavorings have a strong impact on the brain, and they can make extremely bland food taste amazing. The diacetyl often passes through the blood-brain barrier, leading to plaque forming in the brain. This is often what causes memory decline. It's not actually always age like most people think, but the good news is that these foods are really easy to avoid. My name is Dr. Sam Walters. I am a former NASA scientist and brain health specialist. After helping thousands of patients with their memory, I've decided to create a special presentation that anyone can watch from home that shares what the top foods are to avoid for memory loss.
Shocking new research is pointing to microwave popcorn as a potential cause of Alzheimer's disease. Seems crazy, I know, but here's the proof. Recently, a team of researchers from the University of Minnesota set out to determine if a chemical used to give microwave popcorn its buttery flavor could be toxic to your brain. During the study, researchers were shocked to discover that not only does this chemical flavoring easily make its way to the blood supply in your brain, but it can also cause the creation of beta amyloid proteins, the telltale marker of Alzheimer's disease. Now, you might be thinking, I don't eat a lot of popcorn, so I'm okay. But here's the truth. It isn't just popcorn that's causing this. In fact, a recent 6-year-long study involving 2,560 participants discovered additional foods even more devastating to your brain. And Dr. Sam Walters, a former NASA food scientist, brain health and longevity specialist, has taken this new research one step further, putting together a list of 5 foods that can trigger Alzheimer's. In this fast-paced presentation, he'll reveal his latest findings. You'll discover the real reason elephants never forget, and how a secret society of Tibetan monks with steel-trap memories are living to be a healthy 100 years of age and beyond, and who rarely fall victim to sickness and disease. Plus, you'll hear as Dr. Walters describes in detail these 5 foods that are wiping your memory clean. So make sure you watch this presentation to the very end as he reveals each sinister food, including the brain-damaging chemical found in microwave popcorn. He'll explain how each of these seemingly innocent and common foods is putting you at risk for Alzheimer's disease and dementia. He'll also tell you exactly what you can do right now to protect yourself and those you love from the damaging effects of these forbidden foods, no matter how long you've been eating them or how much of them you have consumed. Here's Dr. Sam Walters.
Hi, this is Dr. Sam. Before we begin, I want to share a story that really hits close to home, as many of my patients have experienced similar things. My nurse told me about Mary and her husband, Steve, just the other day. You see, Mary and Steve are going on 30 years of marriage. Mary is a practicing neurologist, and Steve has been an accountant for his adult life. It was on a dark, cloudy night in October when Steve was getting ready to drive 3 hours back from Tallahassee, Florida. But as Steve got in his car and opened his map to find his way home, Steve looked down at the map, terrified. No matter how hard he tried to understand it, he just couldn't. Shaken and scared, he called his wife. But this was just the beginning. Once Steve got back to his accounting practice, he began to make payroll mistakes and miss important tax deadlines. He could no longer remember if he went to the post office to mail out tax payments. At first, he just thought it was depression. I mean, he was only 51 years old. But he continued to make accounting mistakes and slowly lost all of his clients. He could no longer use a calculator or even do simple math. His personality and sense of humor had disappeared, and he was much more likely to take his lawnmower apart than to cut the grass with it. He could no longer drive, and he lost all of his independence. You see, stories like Steve's are all too common and becoming even more common. And that's why I'm going to share with you simple steps you can take to protect your brain health. And I'm happy to report that eventually Steve did find a solution in the natural world. When it started working, he described it as if the lights came back on. The signs of memory loss creep up on us earlier than we think. It starts out innocently enough. You can't remember where you last put your keys. You overlook a doctor's appointment. You walk into a room and suddenly cannot remember why you went in there. And while we may not realize what starts out as an innocent oops, I forgot moment can very quickly turn into something far more serious. Right before your eyes, you start to notice you feel foggy-headed, and even with coffee, you just don't have the same get up and go. You have trouble following conversations and struggle to find the right words. You forget where you put your car keys or misplace your glasses. You often walk into a room looking for something and completely forget why you walked into the room in the first place. You begin to forget birthdays and anniversaries of special people in your life. Now, you may be tempted to shrug it off as an inevitable part of growing older, but there's something you should know. These can all be signs of age-related memory loss, and it's my mission to share this message of hope with as many people possible, because I want you to know it's not your fault. Dirty politicians and their backdoor deals, big pharma, and food manufacturers are all in cahoots to conceal the truth about these tried and true natural remedies. In fact, a top senator is working tirelessly to ban one of the most potent brain nutrients I'm going to reveal today. I'm going to shed some light on the truth so you're no longer kept in the dark. These dirty politicians have no interest in you knowing about these proven ancient remedies. Their only interest is in staying in power. Although some pharmaceutical companies do provide life-saving medicine, most have no interest in prevention or in natural alternatives. And it all comes down to one thing: profit. You see, if it comes from Mother Nature, there is no money in it for Big Pharma because it can't be patented. And without big money, no one wants you to have access to these natural remedies. You know, trouble is our food manufacturers are also putting poison in our food supply. These companies have no interest in the health of you or your loved ones. They'll do whatever it takes to make their shareholders more profit. But here's how you can fight back. First, make sure you have pen and paper handy, because now I'm going to share with you the 5 foods that could be killing your brain. Brain killer number 1, it's called MSG, or monosodium glutamate. This is a very toxic substance that wreaks havoc throughout the body. It causes headaches, high blood pressure, and it can literally kill brain cells. What's even worse is now food manufacturers are trying to hide this ingredient with clever and innocent-sounding names like hydrolyzed protein, natural flavoring, autolyzed yeast extract, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. That brings me to brain killer number 2. This brain destroyer masquerades as a health food because it's low glycemic, yet it may be the most potent brain destroyer of them all. It's called aspartame, and is sold under the label NutraSweet or Equal. It's a 100% synthetic substance, not found in nature, that has absolutely no nutritional value. Plus, aspartame accounts for over 75% of the adverse reactions reported to the FDA. Many of these reactions are very serious, including seizures and even death. Aspartame and MSG are both excitotoxins because they excite or stimulate the brain cell to death. That brings me to the third brain killer, sucralose, sold under the label Splenda. It's very important to realize that Splenda, also called sucralose, is not sugar, despite its marketing slogan, made from sugar, so it tastes like sugar. It's actually a chlorinated artificial sweetener in line with aspartame. You see, they take an ordinary sugar molecule and then add 3 chloride ions. Anytime chlorine is combined with carbon, it becomes a toxic substance. This is how pesticides and herbicides are created. Then we have the 4th brain killer, diacetyl. I don't know about you, but I love to eat warm, buttery popcorn, especially while I watch movies. There's something about the smell and the mixture of the salty goodness with the buttery flavor that I just can't get enough of. Here's the kicker. That same buttery flavor in home popcorn is actually diacetyl, a brain toxin that can cross the blood-brain barrier, a defense mechanism that prevents harmful substance from entering the brain. And diacetyl is bad news for our memory. It causes beta amyloid clumping, which is a significant indicator of Alzheimer's. You won't see diacetyl on the labels, but if you see artificial flavor or natural flavors, you should avoid it at all costs. And finally, we have the fifth brain killer, aluminum. I wrote my master's thesis on the role of heavy metals on Alzheimer's. Aluminum is a known neurotoxin. In the 1970s, autopsies revealed that people that had Alzheimer's had a larger than normal concentration of aluminum in the brain. Unfortunately, aluminum is everywhere. It's in drinking water, supplements, antacids, deodorants, cans, foils, and is commonly used in cookware. Your best bet is to look for aluminum-free deodorants, baking powder, and antacids. And always ensure your supplements have been third-party tested for heavy metals. Now, the best thing you can do is to try to minimize your exposure to these 5 neurotoxins. I suggest you take it a step further. If you only get one thing from this video, let it be this: an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. When all is said and done, we really can make a difference. Now, new research proves that you can do far more than just protect your brain from age-related memory loss. In fact, you can dramatically improve your memory and experience a sharper, quicker brain in months, not years. According to the world's leading experts in memory research, there is now a proven way to stop and, in most cases, even reverse years of brain aging and memory loss. In a few moments, I'll reveal the latest scientific information on age-related memory loss and the brand new, one-of-a-kind, multi-spectrum solution that's been clinically proven to work for thousands. Scientists now know that you can dramatically improve your memory and regain the focus you had 20, 30, 40, and in some cases, even 50 years ago.